Hello, like I've said before, you can't connect the dots going forward. You can only connect the dots going backwards and hope that they'll connect in your future. Well, I ran out of future, but since I've been cooling my heels in eternity, I've been connecting dots. And I'm here today to basically give advice to Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos. Don't do what I did. Don't outsmart yourself. And I'm also here to give a long overdue attaboy to Bill Gates. You'll see in the video below, the clip when Bill Gates and I were on All Things Digital with Walt Mossberg and Kara Swisher, how I could be really glib through that. And I got to tell you, Bill was sincerely admiring of my talent. I said some things, but they came off as phony. But what you'll see in the clip below is at the end, when I was summing up my relationship with Bill, I said, it's like a Beatles song. And it's a lyric from the song, The Two of Us. And what I said in my glib Steve Jobs way is the two of us have memories longer than the road that stretches out ahead. And I said it in my glib presentational style, and then Kara said it made her cry. And when she said that, I realized that what I was saying was all too true, that the road that stretches out ahead was not going to be long for me. And if you look at the expression on my face, you'll see that I was uncharacteristically vulnerable. And I didn't know what to do with myself. And I didn't show too much of that to the public because I had this need to come off as strong, confident, even arrogant, and often difficult. So here's my advice to Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos. What I realized is I outsmarted myself because I had to be the smartest person in the room. And Bill was focused on success. He didn't need to be the smartest person in the room. He just focused on what would be successful so he could bring in smart people, people who were smarter than him, and instead of getting into a pissing match with them, he found a way to rely on them because he was focused on success of the enterprise, whereas I was focused on actually being the visionary. I kind of liked that. And I was focused on being the smartest person in the room, and basically everyone deferred to me. That's what people tend to do with at least you, Elon Musk, and you, Jeff Bezos. Mark Zuckerberg, I think you have the input of your lovely wife who you adore and respect. I felt the same way towards Laureen, but she didn't filter into my thinking when it came to my business. And so here's what I'm also recommending to you, Mark, Elon, and Jeff. Get yourself a mentor. One of the other things that I'm envious of Bill Gates about is that he had a mentor in Warren Buffett. And he had someone who was both smart, successful, and also wise. You need someone who's smart and successful because if they're not smart and successful, it's probably going to be too woo-woo for you. And so they need to have actually gotten stuff done and made money at it. But wise means knowing what's important, what's not important, what to let go of, what to hold on to, how to have perspective. And it's clear that Bill Gates has that in Warren Buffett. And it's clear that I didn't have that. And I'm not sure that Mark, Elon, or Jeff, if any of the three of you have it. And I think if you don't have that, you can outsmart yourself. Lately, I've been hanging out with this guy named Peter Drucker. And I didn't really know him that well when I was alive, but he was this great management guru. And I'm hanging out with him, and I'm starting to have a relationship with him, I think the same way as Bill and Warren have a relationship. In fact, when Warren gets up here, Warren and Peter Drucker, they're going to be the best of friends. They're going to be people who were separated at birth because they were both smart, successful, and wise. I guess that's not both. Three things. And recently what happened to me is Peter Drucker said, "What were you so angry about?" I got a little taken back. He said, "Steve, you seem to be angry for much of your life. You had that edge. If someone rubbed you the wrong way, they could see it. They could see you sort of snarl your teeth. What were you so angry about?" And I paused because, as I said, I have time. I have time to be reflective instead of reactive. And what I said to him is, I said, Peter, there were 5 times in my life when the perfection in my head became something that I was actually able to make. And the perfection in those 5 times included when we made computers something that the consumer world would want. When we came out with a Macintosh and the graphical user interface and made it fun, like doing video games, and I learned that when I worked at Atari, we actually made technology fun and accessible to the world, not just technologists. So that was my first act of perfection. After that, we came up with something about music. And we found a way to store thousands of songs in your pocket. And also we revolutionized how you buy music. We had to push through the recording companies, but they found a way to get on board. Now we have iTunes. And so I kind of revolutionized music. The third thing we changed was the telephone. If you remember, I had that presentation in 2007 where we said it's a phone, it's an internet connecting device, and it's an iPod, all in one. And that was one of my better presentations. So that was my my third piece of perfection. The fourth was movies. Pixar, which was close to being in the toilet the same way as Apple was, because I learned to leave people like John Lasseter alone and they came up with Toy Story. They changed the whole world of animation and CGI. And so that was my fourth act of perfection. The fifth one, which I don't talk that much about, is retail. I mean, the Apple Store is probably the most productive, the most money per square foot piece of retail space in the world. So knowing that I could create perfection, and I did it 5 times in my life, I told Peter, I said, every day I tried to recreate it, and every day I fell short, and I was angry, and I took it out on everyone. I took it out on myself, but I took it out on everyone. And Peter looked at me, he paused, after I stopped venting, and he said, Steve, you blew it. You were an idiot. Of course, I got defensive. No one says that to Steve Jobs. And I said, what? And I didn't jump down his throat because he is someone who's smart, successful, and wise. And he delivered that with a kind of caring, a kind of gravitas that Warren Buffett has when he talks to Bill Gates. And I said, well, what do you mean? And Peter said, you took perfection, which is an ideal. It's something that almost nobody knows at the level that you knew it, and you knew it 5 times. Edison only knew it 3 times, and what happened is you took something that was an ideal to aim for and strive for, and you made it a standard to live by every day, and every time you didn't live up to that ideal every day, you got angry at someone, you got angry at yourself, and you outsmarted yourself, and you made your life and other people's lives unnecessarily miserable. So you blew it. And he looked right at me. He gave me his reality distortion field. He looked right at me because I was about to get defensive, and he let me just yell back at him, well, you need to be a perfectionist if you want to create wonderful things. And with that wise patience, he looked at me, and then he paused and said, Steve, you know I'm right. You blew it. Don't worship at the throne of perfection and make it the enemy of what's good. Aspire to it, but don't worship at it and make nothing else count. The reason, and he kept talking to me, the reason Bill Gates got it right is he worships at the throne of effectiveness and success. And he knows he can't do that, and so he's able to not be the smartest person in the room, but get the smartest people in the room together and get them working together without their being afraid of him. Because you needed to be the smartest person in the room, everybody was afraid of you. People didn't talk back to you because they thought you were just going to ram it down their throat. So I think Peter was right. I think I did blow it. And so my advice to you, Mark, Elon, and Jeff, don't outsmart yourself. Don't worship at the foot of the throne of perfectionism. Also get yourself a mentor. Find that person who's smart, successful, and wise, and just listen to them. In fact, here's a call out to Walt Mossberg and Kara Swisher. This would be a great event if you get Bill Gates and Warren Buffett talking to each other about what they've learned, how they see the world, and what you have present in the room is Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos, and they just listen to the two of them. They just listen to Bill Gates and Warren wax and wane about how you build a successful company, how you both can have perfection and also have good enough, and how you can create something where you don't make everyone else's life miserable. So until the next time, take time and pause to connect some of the dots in your life, and you will be amazed at what you discover. And don't wait until you're dead to have to do it.